everybody? We're back. The very live Steve here, the retired hobby tech guy, American expat in Korea. And today we're going to be talking about what we got down here. Why Bambu? Why? Why would you do that? I just don't understand. Why did you make the H2D? All we wanted was a big X1C. That's it. We wanted a bigger build area. Yeah, maybe throw in, have the two extruder heads, but that would have been nice, but that's really all we wanted. We didn't want all the stuff that is coming with the H2D, and I'm thinking there's going to be a big price jump on that as well. So that's going to be kind of like two strikes against them. And actually, there's going to be three if you talk about getting rid of some communication stuff and how you link up and talk to the machine. So with that, we're going to jump right in. And just returned from a little quick overnight vacation down in Busan, Korea, or Busan. And we're going to take a look here, and boom, there we are. These are the leaked specs for the H2D. And for the people who don't know, the H2D is going to be it has been rumored that Bambu was going to make this thing last year, and then it got pushed back, and everybody was expecting a huge, big build area. All they really wanted was a big Bambu X1C, just bigger, just blow it up 25% more or whatever, 50% more. And so we could get like a, 350 or a 400 cubed machine, and with all the great print quality and all the cool stuff that comes with the Bambu, except for their authorization thing. We'll get into that a little bit. But that's all really we wanted. But we ended up getting more, and I think it's more that we didn't want. And so we're just going to go ahead and jump into this. Again, this is the leak for the Bambu H2D. It's going to be a 3D printing machine to some degree, and it'll have some other stuff on there. We have single nozzle printing, so it's going to have two nozzles. In other words, you're going to have two extruders, which is good in the fact that with two extruders, you can print. I think this kind of came around with, we can print with like a PLA or some other, and then we could do like a water soluble filament for supports, and that can wash away. It's like magic, but the problem with that is that water soluble stuff is expensive, and the majority of people in the hobby world are like, not feeling that. A little bit too rich for the pocket for the majority of us. And we'll get to price on the H2D, what I think it's going to be, and if it's true or if it's worse. It's going to be limited. People are going to be like, I don't think I'm going to do that. Dual nozzle printing, so it's 325 by 320 by 325. So we got a big build area for one print head, which is good. But if you're doing the dual, it's 300 by 320 by 325. So in other words, you have the gantry, and when one is not being in use, it kind of pops up, and then the other one prints, and it kind of goes along, and then the other one, So it's kind of an innovative design. And it's better than the 256 cubed, but, really we're looking at, maybe 50 in some instances, less than 50, a little bit of 50. It's a little bit bigger build area, but that's not my main concern. Total volume for two nozzles is 350 by 320 by 325. I don't know how that's going to work, because if you have two extruders side by side, and one is only able to go so far with print volume, and then the other one is only going to get so far. It is a different print volume, 25 millimeters less. Is it really 350 by 320 by 325? I mean, the 320 by 325 is going to stay the same, but is it really going to be 350? I don't know. That remains to be seen. It just seems very suspicious to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. Lord knows I have a lot of problems with that. Kind of the same thing when we're talking about chassis, aluminum, steel, plastic, glass, the normal, Bambu X1C type of things. It's going to weigh in at about 31 kilograms. Physical dimensions aren't too bad. Hot end is all metal, hardened steel. Max nozzle temperature is going to be 350 Celsius, which is pretty good. Nozzle diameter that comes with it is 0.4, so it's kind of the standard. Doesn't say whether we're going to get a spare nozzle or not. I got a spare nozzle with my Creality K2 Plus, and that worked out good. Supported nozzles 2, 4, 6, and 0.8 millimeters. Has the filament cutter built in. Filament is 1.75. Permanent extruder motor. They got this whole new thing going on with this new H2D, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing if you have to replace it. We're talking about flexible steel plate, which is kind of the norm. Textured PEI plate, supported, smooth, all of that. Heat bed temperature up to 120. Max speed of the tool head is 1,000 millimeters per second. Holy crow, that is amazing. But don't get too excited. Don't blow your load all at once, because we're talking about a couple of different technologies here. It's not that you're going to print at 1,000 millimeters per second. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the max speed of the tool head. And when we get into what types of tools will go onto that tool head and move, will dictate what goes fast and what doesn't. But when we're talking about 3D printing, it's not going to go 1,000. And I've already seen some people, oh, this is going to be awesome, because the max speed is usually 500 or 600. Like, no. You don't understand what you're talking about. And I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, but we're going to talk about the other thing that this does. 20,000 acceleration, that's going to be the same. Max flow 40, which is pretty good. That doesn't mean that you're going to be printing at that 40, but probably still going to be around that 30, 35-ish to get some really quality prints and stuff like that. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Hot end, ABS 280 printing, active chamber heating. So in other words, has a heater in there. Max temperature 65 Celsius. Pre-filter grade G3 HEPA filter. Activated carbon filter type. Granulated coconut shell air purification. VOC filtration is superior. When I see things that start saying superior, that's a red flag that goes off in my head. It's like, is it really superior, or is it just kind of, we're going to throw the word superior because volatile organic compounds that happen within a machine that does certain things, and we'll get to what that thing actually is. When you have VOCs, you need to have a filtration system and you need to have a venting system, which doesn't come with the machine. So you're looking at paying some extra money for venting tubes, vent fan, kind of like the Infinity type of vent solutions and things like that. Particular matter filtration is supported. So again, that's what I was talking about. There's going to be some things going on where particulates in the matters of particulates need to be evacuated and filtrated out of the machine and not into your room, but rather outside. And yeah, we're getting there. Talk about closed loop motors, blah, blah, blah. Here's another thing that I thought was another red flag went up, is it talks about supported filament types. Every other company, the good ones, the bad ones, the middle of the road ones, even the Creality K2 Plus that I ended up getting, they all say supported filament types, and it'll list off, PLA, PETG, TPU, all of these things. But here, Bambu sets itself apart by saying is optimal, and then they have superior, and then they have superior again, and then they have ideal. All of these things on the supported filament it's the same like with pretty much every other machine that is enclosed and has, be able to heat that temperature of that chamber up to the point of where they can do all these things. Is it really optimal? Is it really superior? Is it ideal? Optimal, ideal, what? Now we're just bringing in buzzwords to, I don't know. I mean, what is PLA, that should be ideal. Optimal is better, or what is better? Carbon fiber, glass fiber, that's ideal. Shouldn't that be optimal because you're using? I don't know. It's see, it just sounds. It's like it's a bunch of hype. Honestly, it sounds like a bunch of hype, which is a departure from what we've been seeing with Creality, not Creality, but Bambu. And now they're getting into some hype stuff here. It's like, we get in here and we have 4 different types of cameras. We have a live view camera, which is 1080p. We have a nozzle camera, which is 1080p, which is really good. I think, all machines should have a 1080p camera for them. And what we end up seeing here is the live view camera. So in other words, the one that's monitoring your print that you kind of see on most machines. And then a nozzle camera. And the nozzle camera can use that to make sure that the flow and this and the that and the whoosies and the whatsies are all, laying down good. First layer adjustment and, all the algorithms and stuff. Then what we end up seeing is this one here, a bird's eye camera, which is huge. I mean, that's almost 4K there. And then we have a tool head camera. This is really interesting because this is where that other thing comes into play. The first 2 here are going to be for your 3D printer. These next 2 here are going to be, and I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it because we're going to get down here and talk about this right here, the lasers, frickin' lasers. It's going to have a laser tool head and a laser engraving, a laser cutting tool head. I've got some experience with that. I've got a little 10 watt laser system there, and did coasters and slate and wood and coated metals and stuff like that. Really had a good time with it. Looking at getting another one, but this is why I asked the question, Bambu, why all we wanted was a big X1C. I don't know who asked for a 3D printer with lasers. I mean, maybe it was, Dr. Strange or Dr. No or whatever the guy was with the frickin' sharks with the laser beams on their heads. If you get that, if you know who said that in what movie, put it in the comment section down below and you will get a gold star. So door sensor is supported, filament runout sensor, filament tangle sensor, filament whatever, shows you how much filament that you've used, which is something I think a lot, that should have been a thing a while back, but it's just coming out. But the door sensor is interesting because that relates to a laser. So when you have a class 4 laser, or pretty much any laser that is laser engraving, you have to have a sensor, a safety feature that when you open this thing up, that it stops the laser, because the laser can ruin your eyes and make you go blind. I'm not talking about going blind from this. I'm talking about the laser from the tool head that is doing the laser engraving or cutting or whatever it is. You need to have some safety glasses or safety shield, and you can't just open it up and then, hey, let's look at the laser, and you'll lose your eyesight. So you have to have a door sensor, and if the door senses that it's being opened, it shuts the laser off, and it'll resume once you put that back in place. So even little $150 laser machines have this type of sensor. It's just a switch. That is a little spring activated switch. That's all it is. So we get down here, storage, blah, 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 here's the interesting thing. Motion controller, dual core Cortex M4 and single core Cortex M7. And then we have a quad core 1.5 ARM and neural processing. Some of this is used for 3D printing. Some of this is used for laser engraving. And this is where it's going to get interesting. And I don't know why. I mean, I think they're thinking that it'll be like peanut butter and jelly, or peanut butter and chocolate, kind of like the Reese's thing. They go together. Ebony and ivory go together. But this, I don't see 3D printing and laser engraving going together. I've kind of looked around and I just don't see the outcry of people on the interwebs and social media saying, I was 3D printing and it just hit me. What I would really like is a 3D printer with a laser engraver in it. I just don't see that. We get into software. Bambu Studio supports third-party slicers, which export standard G code like Super Slicer, Prusa, Cura, but certain advanced features may not be supported. Notice Orca Slicer has been left out of that mix. And for those people who don't know, Orca Slicer used to do the thing with the Bambu, and then Bambu said, yeah, we're doing this whole authorization lockdown of our system for your safety and security, which actually it isn't. Yeah, and Orca was like, hey, Soft Fever, I think it is, or whatever their company name is, told Bambu and said, yeah, you need to reconsider. This isn't good. Don't do this. And they did it anyway, and then they've kind of parted ways. So yeah, that's why Orca's not on that list anymore. Mac, blah blah blah. Here's the other red flag that pops up as we take a look at this here. When we get down to network control, Ethernet is not available. Wireless network, and I said this was going to happen. So when Bambu did this whole authorization lockdown, Bambu cloud type of thing, and that, they put out the whole deal about, oh, well, if you don't upgrade your machine, you might not be able to print. It would brick your machine, and people were freaking out over that. And, then people said, oh, well, you can just use the old firmware. But then Bambu also said with all their brand new machines going from this period on, they're going to be upgrading and doing firmware upgrades so that you must do the authorization. And yeah, it's all the new ones are just going to be, you're going to have to accept it. And the fact that you don't have Ethernet and that is not available is going to put people into a very precarious situation, especially people who are doing business or people who are concerned about the security of their prints and their products, or dealing with customers who want things printed that don't want that going to China. I don't know. What are the odds? But the fact that they took away the Ethernet port on there and it's no longer going to be available, that's going to be very problematic. And I think that I kind of mentioned this in the past a little bit, how they're going to lock down this system. They're going to take away functionality, and they're really going to lock you in to where it's an all or none situation. The new machines, you're not going to be able to get out of their little locked in ecosystem. The fact that, network kill switch is not available, removable network module is not available, 802.1x network access control is not available. This is, wow, I hate being right. Yeah, the fact that they don't have an Ethernet port, like with every other machine on the planet, Prusa has it. All of these other, my Creality K2 Plus has it. If you want to connect your computer up to your printer, you can do it pretty much everything, but not with the H2D, because they're going to lock you into that Wi-Fi. That's the only thing that's available is Wi-Fi. You're locked in, folks. And it's going to be very problematic. Wi-Fi, blah, 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 blah. Now we're getting into laser type. This is where we get to the place where we're asking and saying, Bambu, why? Who in the world asked for a 3D printer with lasers? In reality, there's just such a huge outcry to all of this. I just haven't seen it. I think they're somebody gave them a good idea, supposedly, hey, let's be like We Create or We Create or whatever the name is, and let's get the hobbyists and the people that do, scrapbooking, whatever, which is pretty cool. Not my cup of tea. But, they need lasers and they need cutters and vinyl cutters and all this stuff. And let's just make a 3D printer with a laser and vinyl cutters and paper cutters, and that is going to be an awesome trifecta. No, it's not. Unless they pull off some engineering miracles, I don't think this is going to be as good as they say it is. And again, even if they do, I don't think the H2D is going to be something where everybody's going to run out and say, you know what? Hey, I'm getting this. there comes a place where it's like, in the past it was like, I want a 3D printer, and then they came out with the multi-material systems like multiple multi-material system, MMS, and then Creality has their CFS, Creality filament system, and most of them have 4 spools that you can draw from, and you can print different colors, different materials, different colors and different materials, up to, I think the Creality can go up to 16 colors or something like that. Bambu has a similar type of thing, and you can just go color wild on these multi-material systems. And those have been combos. The machine and the multi-material system is a great combo. That's something where it's like, you know what? That seals the deal. I mean, I wanted to get the K2 Plus, but when I saw that it had the CFS that I could do 4 colors, and that was included in the combo for $1,500, $1,450 or whatever it was, I was like, that's an awesome combo. That is an awesome combo. Make it a combo meal. You go to Burger King or whatever fast food restaurant, and it's like, yeah, make it a combo meal. I want the meal, the fries, and the Coke all at once. But nobody asked for the 3D printer, the vinyl paper cutter thing, and the laser. I just don't see that, and it's just. So we go down here, 10 watt laser plus or minus 1 watt. Operating temperature, max engraving speed is 400 millimeters per second. Max cutting thickness, 5 millimeters, which is, it's not bad. Class 4 laser, engraving, which, okay, that's not bad. 310 by 270. That's a pretty decent size of engraving area. But again, it's with a 3D printer. And I don't know if you know anything about laser engraving, but when you engrave on things such as wood, if you're doing laser engraving with wood and you do some really cool stuff like that, or you do acrylic, or you even engrave on slate, stone, other plastics, coated metal. Matter of fact, I did a bunch of coated metal. Did this thing here. That looks really cool. That came out really good. You're going to have the laser, which is going to basically destroy the thing that it's hitting, and that's going to have debris. That debris is going to come in the form of VOCs. That debris is going to come into the form of smoke. It's going to come into particulates and matter and stuff like that. That is going to require you to do a lot of cleaning. And if you do a lot of engraving, you're going to have to do a lot of cleaning. You're going to have to clean the lens. You're going to have to clean the system. You have to clean the inside and the outside, mostly the inside of the machine. And that's just with the laser itself. So the big problem that we end up seeing with this, having a 3D printer and a laser, and you're lasering, and that has VOCs and dust and particulates and burnt wood, burnt acrylic, and all this other stuff. Do you think some of that can get into the parts of the 3D printer, into places that you don't want it to go? I mean, again, maybe there's some technological marvels that they've done on this Bambu H2D, but again, I just don't see people crying for this. 3D printer with lasers and cutters. I just don't get it, because you're going to have when you engrave, it leaves a mess. And depending on the stuff that you're cutting, if you're doing acrylics, if you're doing other stuff, it can make a mess of your 3D printer. So I just don't get it. But it's a good area of, the engraving area, 310 by 270. That's not bad. Micro LiDAR, flame detection, which is something that's interesting, flame detection, temperature detection, door sensor, engraving time lapse. So yeah, you'll be able to do an air pump built in, ventilation pipe adapter, outer diameter is 100 millimeters, which is 4 inches. And we come down here to the part where it says supported material, wood, rubber, sheet metal, leather, I think it's leather, dark acrylic, stone, and more. The problem is when you engrave on these things or you cut these things, you're going to get dust, you're going to get debris, you're going to get particulates that are going to get into all of the cracks, crooks, and little tiny places where you probably don't want those things in your 3D printer. And again, like I said, unless they did an incredibly awesome job, that could cause some problems. But again, the whole deal of let's put all these things together, I just don't see why, or anybody who would want this, and especially when we start getting into price. So they got the 10-watt laser, laser spot, talks about that. Then they have a 40-watt laser, which is the same thing, and that's where the 1,000 millimeters per second comes into play. When you start engraving, that's where that big number comes from. So it's talking about the laser engraving. It's not talking about the 3D printing. You're not going to get 1,000 millimeters per second or millimeters per second or anything like that. It's, again, unless this is kind of like, Star Trek and making the, what is the thing that the transporter, Bambu has jumped so far ahead that they're able to get 1,000 millimeters per second on the 3D printing. No, it's not. I think it's just talking about the laser. But when we get into all of this stuff, again, all of those things there are going to be problematic because they're going to let off a lot of stuff. And even if you have a ventilation system, you're still going to have those things. You're still going to have to clean the lens of your laser. If you're lasering a lot, engraving a lot, and cutting a lot, you're going to be cleaning that, I would say. I've been cleaning mine when I was doing a bunch of coasters, slate coasters. I did like 80 of them at one time. And after every day I was, cleaning the lens, sometimes twice a day, because it just dirties up the lenses. And if you don't clean the lenses, then, your lens can crack and you won't get the output power that you used to get because everything's dirty and you need clean optics. So, it's just, I just don't get it. Cutting mat type, light grip, strong grip cutting mats. This is talking about the cutting module. In other words, in hobbies, you have vinyl cutters that can cut out, decals or whatever, letters and things like that. Cut paper, a bunch of other things. Paper, vinyl, leather, and more. All of those things, when you cut those things, those produce some particulates as well that can get and clog up, gears, motors, all of these things that you want pristine, your guide rails, your lead screws, all of these things. You're going to have to do some more maintenance on your 3D printer, the H2D, than on any other printer that you've ever had, unless they pull off some crazy stuff. Bambu really just did some wild and crazy stuff. So the problem that I see here with this H2D is that you're talking about a 10-watt laser, you're talking about, and it probably, they're going to have their own software, which is going to be, I think, reminiscent of what like X2D has with their own custom software. Again, all of that's going to come into play. But the question is, who asked for this? Seriously, who asked for it? I didn't ask for this. There's nothing in my I like laser engraving. I got some really cool stuff. I engrave glass. I, do some cool stuff like that, photos and all kinds of cool stuff. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever think it would be a good idea to have a laser engraver and a 3D printer and a vinyl cutter all in one thing. Just because it's just not a thing in my opinion. And a lot of other people have been like the same way. It's like, why would you do this when all we wanted was a big X1C? You could have just blown that up and give us two extruders so that we could print two different types of materials or two colors, whatever it is, water soluble in your whatever, or you could do. I get that. And then, a larger, MMU, multi-material system, have 5 instead of 4 to really kind of set you apart from everybody else, and give people that. I think that's what people wanted, was a big X1C with, 4 or 5 different types of colors and materials that they could print with 2 extruders, which is good. But really, if you're, I mean, let's think about it. Seriously, if your thing is printing multiple colors, is two extruders, that's fine. It's better than one and having all that waste, so you save a little bit. But I think it just falls short of like the Prusa XL, which can have up to 5 heads. I just I don't know. It just doesn't. It's like they took their shot and they were hoping for that home run, and it's like we're gonna put 2 extruders on there. Okay, 2 print heads or whatever. That's good. It's going to be a little bit bigger, which is good. I think everybody wanted it bigger. Everybody, ever since they heard about the rumors, or even before that, we're like, yeah, if we can get a machine like the Bambu X1C in 350 or 400 cube, boom, that would be it. That would be the deal. And then throw in, that's really all anybody wanted. But then they came out and there was rumors that there was going to be 2 heads, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's even better. 350 cubed or 400 cubed and 2 heads, boom, that would be awesome. That would be pretty good. I mean, it's not like the Prusa XL, but it's still pretty damn good. It would satisfy all the people that want bigger print areas, which is basically everybody, and get the same quality prints as you get on an X1C. You just blow it up. I mean, yeah, there's more math involved and algorithms and stuff like that. I get that. But nobody asked for the laser engraver. I don't know who suggested this. 10 watt laser, 40 watt laser. Hey, let's throw in a vinyl and leather and paper cutter in there as well. I just don't get it. When you're looking at the Prusa XL, which comes in at about, with the 5 tool heads, you're talking about, $3,500, $4,000, something like that, whatever that comes out to. That's an expensive piece of kit. That is definitely a machine that, unless you're a geek and you got a lot of money and you're just doing hobby stuff and you're just rich, God bless you, I'm not. But for the average hobbyist, and even for the average person who does a little side gig, little this and that, with laser engraving and 3D printing, you're going to have a dedicated engraver. You're going to have a dedicated 3D printer, because those 2 things or 3 things just don't go together, in my opinion. And I've seen a number of other people have expressed the same opinion about this as well. All of the dirt and the grime and the soot and the VOCs that come from laser engraving and laser cutting and vinyl cutting, paper, leather, the whole 9 yards, all that is going to go inside your 3D printing machine, which probably isn't a good thing, because keeping your machine in tip-top shape is very important for the longevity of the machine and the quality of the prints and so on and so forth. So but I just don't know it's like, you can do it, but should you? Is really what it comes down to. Yeah, we know you can do all these things and you can throw all this stuff together and make it work, but just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Kind of get that reference from that Jurassic Park thing, with the crazy wild mathematician guy, the chaos guy, Jeff Goldblum, Gold Star, if you got that reference. But it just doesn't make sense on having those things in one machine. I just don't see the outcry. I don't see the masses on Reddit or hobby sites or pages on Facebook, social media groups, with hobbyists and crafters and this and that, and, people doing scrapbooks and laser engraving. And laser engraving people want to do laser engraving, and they have a specific machine for that, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different variables. There's a lot of different concerns that can happen with a laser engraver and a 3D printer at the same time, and now you want to put them all into one machine. Well, what happens when you have something go wrong and now you need to buy parts? those parts are going to be very expensive. And if you have like you ever seen the 3D printer where the head goes around and then it just kind of balls up and it gets this big blob thing that ruins the print head. It's going to be more expensive to repair. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, especially with their new extruder system. Long gone are the days of paying, $20, $30, $40 for, if you have to replace the whole thing because it really got foobarred. Yeah, you're going to be shelling out some money. And again, you can do it, but why? I just don't see. It's like they're trying to create a need. And when we see these things, like I pointed out, superior and this and that and ideal and optimal, for all of the stuff that they're printing, when every other company and even Bambu themselves in the past said supported materials, boom, here's the list. Yeah, we do it all. But now things are optimal. They're superior or ideal. And it's like, really, we're stooping down to hype and buzzwords. What does optimal mean? What does ideal mean? I mean, ideal for PPACF, glass fiber, carbon fiber, PPS, carbon fiber, glass fiber. How's that ideal? Is ideal okay in a scale of 1 to 5? Is that ideal is like a 2.5 out of 5? I don't know. Superior? What? Optimal? Isn't that just it prints these things like PLA, PETG, and normal things like every other machine does, prints it out, it's normal, it's good. Just why are we dipping into, the hype sauce and pouring that all over everything and trying to sell this thing? Going back to, the bird's eye camera, the tool head camera, basically those are cameras that will look down as you're doing laser cutting and laser engraving. You're going to have the top-down camera that's going to look at your engraving and cutting area, and you'll be able to line up things and say, hey, well, if I'm going to engrave this wood coaster and I'm going to set this down on the build area, the overhead camera is going to record that, and that's why it's almost 4K. And then you could put your design on here and through the software, and then if you have multiple of these, it'll kind of look up X-Tool. They do that already, and I'm pretty sure that's what Bambu is going to end up doing. But nobody really asked for that, because the problem is if the laser system goes down, is it a possibility to cause problems with the rest of the machine and the 3D printing part of the machine? Yeah, or vice versa. If there's a problem with the 3D printer part of the machine, that now your laser is out too. Yeah, and the the vinyl and leather and paper cutter as well. Yeah, I know you got heads, tool heads that you can put in there. Here's the laser head, here's the cutting head, and all that stuff. But I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't think this is a good idea. And if we're talking about price, if you look at 10 and 40 watt lasers, and at least in high-end systems, I'm guessing that the H2D is going to probably be $2,500 to maybe $3,500. That's honestly what I think is going to possibly more. Let's go on Amazon. Let's go on Amazon and check and do. Let's see, a 40 watt laser engraver. If I learned how to spell. And let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we got here. And we got some good stuff. Creality Falcon A1, which is like $500. There's one for, $1,100. And then, of course, the X-Tool S1 is a 40 watt laser cutter engraver. That's almost $2,000. Some of these systems are not enclosed. There's the S1, 2,100. There's a Creality Falcon 2 Pro 40. That's $1,900. Again, kind of going over these. OhmTech 40 watt CO2. I imagine that's going to be a chunk of change. But yeah, and then you have some different types of lasers. But I mean, you're looking at a significant price for a 40-watt laser system. Here's $1,400. That's Creality Falcon 2 Pro, $1,400. You have some open systems here. That's 20-watt. But yeah, there's another Creality, 1900. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. 40-watt ohm tech, of course, that's a CO2 laser system, which is a big glass tube and stuff in the back. You're looking at, 660, 670, somewhere around there. Some of these unknown ones are a lot cheaper. But if you're getting into something that's quality, I mean, you're going to be paying some money for the laser. The Acmer laser, you're looking at $1,700 for 40-watt and 24-watt. So having one or the other would be a little bit less expensive. But yeah, it's, even a 20-watt laser on this system here, which is, Chinese, whatever, $850 basically. So on top of a laser or a 3D printer, and then you're going to throw in a laser, a 10-watt or a 40-watt laser, what do you think that's going to do to your price point? That's going to go to the point of where brand new Bambu machine, we know that the price will be up there, especially with the larger build area, the 2 print heads that they have. That is going to command a steep price. And then throw in a 10 or a 40-watt laser, and then throw in the vinyl paper leather cutting device head that goes on there as well. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more $2,500, I think it'll be like $3,000 and above. The more I think about it, I think it'll be $3,000 and above. And I think because they had to come up with their software, they're going to be kind of like X2D, and they're going to have their own. Obviously, they're going to have their own ecosystem with this, and they're branching out into these other things, and they produce this all-in-one system. But nobody wanted that. We just wanted a big X1C, throw in a couple tool heads in there and we'll be good to go. But nobody asked for lasers. Nobody asked for paper cutters and vinyl cutters. People that do that stuff will buy their own vinyl cutter, because when that goes down, they don't want, what is it? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not like peanut butter and jelly. It's not like peas in a pod. I don't understand why Bambu is doing this, and I don't think they're going to get the sales that they think they're going to get. And especially when the price is revealed, because they haven't revealed the price on this yet. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think this is going to be the home run that they think it is. I don't know. Tell me. But what do you think? Put it in the comment section. I can see your comments. If you do some comment stuff, I can bring it up on the screen and let people know, let everybody read what you think. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've missed the entire demographic of the people who have been screaming for a 3D printer, laser engraver, vinyl cutter. Have you? Is anybody out there that's watching this? I mean, is that what you wrote in your letter to Santa? Dear Santa, I would really like to have a 3D printer with lasers and, no, it doesn't make sense. Maybe you could buy the printer by itself without the laser or without the vinyl cutter. I hope they do that, because if this is like, you have to buy the laser and have to buy the vinyl cutter, I think that'll just be terrible. I can't see them doing that. But like I said, the problem that I see is when they start using all these buzzwords, and when they start taking away Ethernet, which, why would you take away the Ethernet? Because they want you. They want to control you. They want to have access to the information. And you are going to be at their beck and call, because you have to be online for that to work. And yeah, you can use your you can use your little USB stick, and you could probably, go over there, which is an interesting thing. Did we see a USB connector on there? I didn't notice. Let's go back. Okay, tool head, heat bed, speed, chamber, purification, cooling, filament, sensors, electrical requirements, storage, control interface, nope. Network control, no Ethernet, big problem. Wi-Fi, yep. Laser type, lasers, sharks with lasers. Air pump, safety key included because it's class 4 laser system. And again, it's just not good having those things together. 40 watt laser, same. Cutting, okay, whatever. Cutting mats, all that. Doesn't say anything about a USB. Interesting. Now this is just the leak stuff. And there was another one that I ended up seeing that had the pictures of the printer and all the, the high-speed low drag graphics and all that stuff. But I didn't see a USB on there as well. So, and I wanted something that was easy to read. So, yeah, does it even have a USB port? We don't know. I don't know. I just don't get it. Let's see. Eric says, the idea of an all-in-one is dumb. You're not the only one thinking that. Great minds think alike. You passed it. I passed it? I did? Oh, let's go back. Did I? Let me get back. Okay, print body. Extruder, nozzle, tool head. That's the bed, that's the speed. Chamber, purification, cooling. I know it's not under that. Supported filament, superior, optimal, whatever. Tool head sensor, odometry, power loss recovery. That's always good. Electrical requirements, touchscreen, storage. Oh, yes. Eric is right. You won the internet of the day because it does say USB port. Oh, thank God. At least there's that. Wow, dodged a bullet on that. Oh, man. Eric, yep, right by the electronics. Yep, we got it, the USB port. So it does have a USB port, thank God. But they don't have the Ethernet. I just don't get it. Why would you take away the Ethernet? It doesn't make sense. Here we have a comment. Greetings, Steve. Your points are indeed excellent. I'm still a novelist on the subject of 3D printing and laser printers. Oh, thank you very much. But just like with anything else, it ends up, it's not, again, the all-in-one machine that does all this stuff, I just don't see the need for it. I just don't see enough people saying, you know what, life would be complete and I would attain nirvana if I had a 3D printer that had a laser and a vinyl cutter, paper thingy, leather, whatever. I just don't see that. It just, if something goes wrong, Lord forbid, the main part of the machine, something happens, now you're out the 3D printer, now you're out the laser engraver cutter, now you're out of the vinyl leather paper cutter, and you're down. You're all down. So in other words, you're out. You're down and out. 3 strikes and you're out. Could it be possible that you just have one tool head, laser goes out, and then you send it in, get a warranty or get a replacement? Yeah, there's a possibility. But then there's also the possibility that the main machine itself goes down, and now you're out 3 different machines all in one fell swoop. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, and a lot of other people it doesn't make sense as well. So yeah, the H2D is going to be interesting because all we wanted was this right here. That's all we wanted. We wanted this, except we wanted a 350 or 400 cube build area. That's all we wanted. We wanted that thing right there, but bigger. And yeah, throw in 2 heads, Boom. I'll take that as a bonus any day. But really, we just wanted a bigger one. Instead of 256 cube, we wanted bigger. Just make that thing, this thing right here, boom, bigger. That's all we wanted, was just make that thing big. That is it. That's all we wanted. I don't know. It's just really interesting. Eric says the build size is a letdown. The only positive thing I see so far is the 350 nozzle for printing engineering materials. That's true. I will give them that. So you can get... But is there enough demand for that? That's the thing that gets me. Is like, well, is that going to be enough? I don't know. I don't know if that would be enough to get people to say, you know what, that's going to justify the price for this. And let's say you get the H2D and you have the option of not getting the laser, not getting the vinyl cutter, and you just get the machine. How much is that going to be? And is that price going to be justified? I don't know. And again, I think, this is just my opinion, I don't think there's enough desire or want or need for this. Eric said it. There it is. Eric nailed it. The winner of the internet today, no, it is very niche. It is very niche indeed. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think you throw a bunch of stuff together, and I just don't see. I think maybe somebody at Bambu ended up saying, well, hey, look at X-Tool. They're doing pretty good on their thing. Let's try that. Let's do lasers. And then somebody probably chimed in, well, hey, we create and we got all these people that do scrapbooking and cut out on paper and vinyl and things like that. Well, let's throw that in there as well. And it just ended up being this monstrosity. And unless they pull off something wild and crazy, I just don't see the need. It is very niche. And each one of those things is very niche in and of itself. And I just don't see people buying a 3D printer and then buying a 40-watt laser if they're into lasers. You're just going to buy a laser with a 40-watt laser, and you're going to pay less than what you're going to get with the H2D. They're not going to pay that. Same thing with vinyl cutters. You can buy your own vinyl cutter, and companies that have been established in doing that, they have their own software, do awesome, incredible jobs. Why would they go? And I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. So it'll be very interesting. But I think, and I'm going to throw this out there again, I think it's going to be around $3,000 or more for this machine. And unfortunately, it's the X1C by itself is $1,200. The combo is $1,450 right now. Of course, those will come down. But, the bigger build area, I could easily see that popping into the $2,000 range. You throw in the two extruders, the two heads and stuff like that. Now you're into the $2,500 to $2,750 range, somewhere around there. And now you're going to throw in, LiDAR and this and that and all of these other things. The safety components that have to be built into the H2D, whether you buy the laser module or not. Same thing with the cutters. All of that is going to have to be in the machine. The safety considerations, the shutoff and the sensors and all of that stuff, they have to go through certain certifications for a Class 4 laser system. So that is going to be an added expense. So you're going to pay for that whether you need it or not. And if you don't need it, why would you pay more? I'll just get a laser system. I'll get a Raleigh Lasermatic MK, extended bed, whatever laser system, or I'll get an X-Tool that is, pretty much top notch. X-Tool is like the Bambu of the laser engraving world, and you're going to pay for that. But it's incredibly easy to do, user friendly, the whole 9 yards. but I just don't see that coming from Bambu. I mean, they got easy to learn systems, and it really is, dumbs it down and makes it accessible for 3D printing for everybody. But I just don't see this. I just don't see this. So anyway, that's what we got going on. I wanted to throw that in there, but yeah, I'm expecting over $3,000 for that easy. And if you throw in a 10 watt laser or 40, if you do a 40 watt laser, maybe $3,500. Throw in a vinyl cutter in there as well. Yeah, maybe $3,750, $3,500. I'm gonna say somewhere around the $3,000, somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. I think. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, many times. So, but that's what we got going on. Yeah, some of the wording that popped up in this. And really, we didn't want that. We didn't want lasers. We didn't want a vinyl cutter. We just wanted a big X1C, And yeah, maybe a couple tool heads on there, for multi-filament. Try to move into the area that Prusa has been in for a while with their XL, which, by the way, for like $2,000, you can get a single head, and then it goes up from there up to like $3,500. You can get a total of 5 heads for multi-material and multi-color printing with very minimal waste. It's almost like it's like let's dip our toe into the water, but we don't want to jump all the way in. And then it's like, okay, well, since we're just dipping in here, let's dip into the laser market. Let's dip into the vinyl cutting market. And I don't know. And in laser engraving, I know I'm ranting a little bit, but in laser engraving, your area of which you can cut and engrave is very interesting. And look at the materials that you have to buy, and people that are doing side gigs or businesses with their lasers and stuff like that. I don't know if that build area is going to be enough. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Matter of fact, what was the laser engraving? Sported. Dimension lasers. Engraving area 310. Engraving area is 310 millimeters by 250. I think it comes out to 100 millimeters is 4 inches. So 310 by 250 engraving area. You're going to pay. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. So here it is. The 40 watt laser engraving area is 310 by 250. What is 310? It's got to be like some 310 millimeters to inches. It's got to be like 3.75 or something. No, 12. 12 inches? Oh, really? Okay. 310 millimeters to inches. That's not bad. 100. Oh, that's right, because 100 millimeters is 4. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, get that. And then 250. Let's see what 250 ends up being here. It's so dark. So we're looking at 9.8. So 12 by 9.8. I don't know. People that get into laser engraving, I think you're going to want a little bit more than 12 by 9.8. It's weird in the laser engraving market. There is the, let me throw this on here real quick. Boom, it gets some light. There's a little bit more going on when you get into laser engraving and when you do like 100 by 100, which is 4 by 4 inches. But then you start getting into the people that are doing more arts and crafts, more DIY stuff. And if you're doing a side gig, size is what matters, because you want a larger size engraving and cutting area because you can maximize your products and you could do more prints, which do more in less time, and you can make more money. When you have something that's 12 by 9.8, I think that's more hobbyist type stuff. I don't think that's enough to appeal to people that want to do a business type thing. Now, maybe if you have a system of where you can have a rolling thing where you could put longer material, kind of like on a conveyor belt, like the X tool in the F1 Ultra and things like that, where it has the conveyor belt system, it engraves or continues to engrave. Some other laser engravers have that as well, to where you can do really long projects, signs, just some pretty wild stuff. But I just don't see that happening here. I think this size is not going to be big enough, because 12 by 9.8, I don't think it's not going to appeal, and I just don't get it. And it's a diode laser. Not that there's anything wrong with a diode laser. My little laser engraver is a 10 watt, and I think it's like $160. Picked it up on Amazon. It is rinky-dink and it is cheap. Small build area or engraving area cutting, but it can come out and make some cool stuff with it. But I just don't know why these people decided to do this and put it all together. So anyway, crazy stuff for the H2D. So it'll be interesting to come out. I think it pops out on the 27th, which today is the 25th. So we got a couple more days till we see the price and the reveal of that. Put down your job, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is to put down what you think the price of the H2D is going to be. And that'll be kind of interesting. I think it'll be $34.95, almost $3,500, but it'll do $34.99. I think that's what it's going to be, because they always do that. Make it sound less than what it's really going to be. When you throw in some tax or whatever. Eric says it comes out in 4 hours. Really? Oh, I'm in Korea, so today's the 25th. I thought it came out on the 27th. Okay, well, if it comes out in 4 hours, then we'll know even sooner. So that's awesome. Cool. Alrighty, the reveal. Oh, okay, the reveal comes out. Yes, the reveal. It shall be revealed, and we shall see. But yeah, I've got a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about a laser, 3D printer, vinyl cutter, with all the particulates, the VOCs, things that can clog up your 3D printer. Again, it better be sealed off big, but even then, nobody asked for this. And based on that alone, even I could just buy the 3D printer in and of itself, without the laser, without the vinyl cutter, you're still going to be paying for stuff that you don't need to be paying for. And if you really want to have something that's a big build area, just spend $2,500 and get the Prusa XL with a single head, or get a Creality K2 Plus, or get the Creality Ender 5 Max, which has got a huge build area. My K2 Plus has been rocking it pretty good. I love that thing. Granted, some other people have problems with that, but there are other options out there. Steve, the power of 9, $25.99. You think it's going to be that low? $25.99. I think it's going to be $34.99. That's going to be my guess. But that could be a guess. That's a guess as well. So we'll see what happens. What'll be messed up is that if we all put our answers in here and then it gets blown out of the water by Bambu and they say it's like $44.95 or something, and people are going to be like, forget it. Yeah, I don't know. Besides the YouTubers who get the machine sent to them for free, I just don't see a lot of people. I don't think there's going to be a lot of business for the H2D, honestly, and especially combined with the authorization lockdown, and now they're taking away Ethernet ports off of there, which is like the cheapest thing in the world. Why would you do that? Oh yeah, you want to control. Just don't get it. Okay, so anyway, if you haven't put your guess down as what the price will be of the H2D from Bambu, put it in the comment section. That's your job. If you have any opinions on it, pro, con, doesn't really matter. I don't look down on anybody. Put that in the comments of why you think it would be a killer machine. go for it. Or why you think it'd be like, meh, you know, not a really big thing. That's not for me. Maybe somebody else. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that's going to be it. We're going to finish this video up. Coming to you live from Korea, Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, expat in Korea. And if you have any questions, concerns, tips, tricks, playlists, things to make me a smarter human being in hobby and printing and painting, there's the email. You could do that. If you also want to buy me a coffee, you can be like these individuals over here. They are awesome, and they have bought me coffee, and I much appreciate that. You can do that as well, and that's in the description box as well. If you don't, that's cool. I still want to see the price that you think the H2D is going to be. Matter of fact, Eric pops up, and he says, I'll say $19.99 will be the launch sale price, and the base model, and $29.99 for the whole package. $29.99 for the 3D printer, the lasers, sharks with lasers, and the vinyl cutter? It's a ballsy move there. Ballsy move. Okay, well, we got it on record. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I appreciate that. And yeah, in 4 hours, I guess, we will stand by. I guess I'll stay up. Yeah, I'll still be up. It's like 7 o'clock at night here in Korea on the Tuesday. But yeah, 4 hours, we'll see what happens. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the results that come out for the launch sale price. Yep, launch sale price. Of course, that's going to be just like all the other machines, like the Centauri Carbon is like, what, $299 or something. Print Ventures ends up saying around $2,500 in my opinion, and $1,800 for the base. And he brings up the 40 watt will cost a lot more. I think you're right on that. I think you are right on that. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, interesting stuff that we see going around with Bambu. But yeah, and I was so ready to buy Bambu, but that's a whole nother story. So that is going to be it. Best wishes to you and yours. I appreciate that. And in 4 hours, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to that. But until then, enjoy the rest of your week. And, oh, Print Venture says, one more thing. Says, but we can all be somewhat happy. Bambu usually release their lesser models soon after the top models. Ergo, the H2D, no modules. That's true. That's true. Except when they screwed the pooch on, what was it, the A1 and the A1 Mini. They sold the A1 Mini first, and then they sold the A1. People were really mad about that. Yeah. That was it. Okay, so that's going to be it. Eric, everybody else, Print Ventures, all the people out there in the interwebs, I appreciate you watching, and we will see what happens. That's right. Peace. We will see you. Good stuff.